like these speaks to a worldwide fascination with Las Vegas, Nevada, 2009. Magician Steve Wyrick stuns a circle of 40 onlookers as he appears to make a 3-ton Hummer
Raise the curtain.
vanish in an instant.
Everyone, join hands. All right. There's 40 people around the Hummer. Watch this. Do it. Now.
The continued popularity of illusions like these stuns a circle.
All right. All right. There's 40 people around the Hummer. Watch this. Do it. Now.
The continued popularity of illusions like these speaks to a worldwide fascination with magic that can be traced back thousands of years.
We long for some kind of connection to the supernatural, and we can have it for a couple of hours on the price of a ticket by attending a magic show. When we go to the theater and see a stage magician, we know supernatural events are not happening before our eyes, no matter how much it seems like they are. We sometimes think of the people of the ancient world as simple. They lived in a world saturated with magic. There really was no distinction between ordinary life and the supernatural. They were completely embedded in each other, so belief in magic was absolutely uniform. With magic, there really was no distinction between ordinary life and the supernatural. They were. We sometimes think of the people of the ancient world as simple. They lived in a world saturated with magic. There really was no distinction between ordinary life and the supernatural.
Look at bro's face, though. Like, cause really, these niggas look like Russians making a sacrifice to a divine one. Maybe I'm tripping, but that just randomly made me say that. Because during Xenia, they called the Americas the New World, right? So that being said, this being Atlantis, this was the New World compared to the other side of the realm on the new side, because my energy is more on the America side, right? More on the Atlantis side. And the new energy was more like Europe, Africa, Eurasia, Africa, but really it's like in reverse, because if you look at what cold air does, it falls, right? So, but at the same time, they generate cold air, just to cover up Antarctica, because if you look at the word Antarctica, Antarctica, ant means like anti, so meaning not, and Arctic means like cold, so it's really not cold there. They're just covering shit up. But since we have the magnetic field breaking down the UV light, it's starting to pop out more, and a lot of things are beginning to get melted. Just like the waters in the lakes, because that ties down to dams, right? And the dams ties down to the energy they're using, where the areas they're manipulating the energy at the most. That's why I like the Transformers. They went to the dams and it was a base and shit, because that's one of their ways of manipulating it through land. And they also have one in the seas because it was land under the water, and that's why it's a little dim inside of the it's a dim inside of the moon, because of the lands that sunk, right? This actor weird.
Rated with magic, there really was no distinction between ordinary life and this.
Alright, so peep how they look. This is a whole sacrifice going on, right? Boom. Let's peep camera.
We sometimes think,
Like, I'm just starting to understand a lot of this pictograph, because the picture shows symbolism. Just like the upside down triangle represents the sun. That's why they call this shit Delta Force, because they're trying to block out the sun. The upside down triangle is actually representing the UV, right? The reactance to the atom, the light and the heat, right? Because it's trying to go to another state of matter, plasma. It's trying to get you to another state. But that's the thing, naturally, everything's going to go into that state. That's when you're going to start seeing the colorful auras around things. A lot of eagles already be having colorful auras, feel me? And a lot of planes that be going past got colorful auras, dealing with red and green, the heart chakra and the root, you feel me? And they're dealing with ultraviolet, purple. We're dealing with ultraviolet. It's just coming down, and it's just coming down at a lower frequency. So when we see it, we're gonna see green. No, we're gonna see red, orange, yellow, green, and then the blues are right there. So you're gonna start seeing like a little purplish with it, like a rainbow. But the sun really is purple, right? The aura of the sun is purple. Because it's a trinity to the light now. You got the red sun and the blue sun. You see turquoise and all the extra shit. That's the moons, the real moons. The moon that we have is a reflection of the spaceship going around the sun, right? Because it's a trinity to light too, but the aura gives off a reflection. So when you see the aura of the reflection, now you're seeing the aura of the sun, and the crescents that's going around it is Nibiru going around it, right? So that being said, we have that Sirius is opened up as part of alignment to the sun and the planet, because the Sirius A, B, C, and X is open. So that being said, now that it's open, it's becoming part of the orbit. But that's pretty much the generator of all the alignments, and while Saturn is trying to control it because it's in the spot to control it. It's being manipulated by CERN to get to NERN, right? So, but the thing about that is breaking down Milton, because CERN, well, no, because the high energy that's coming, it can't be manipulated no more. It's way too powerful. And them trying is going to make a natural disaster, which is the clouds, right? The cloud interfering with this is reflecting light back to the solar system when it's supposed to be hitting the planet. So it's kind of like a defense. And then, but the thing is, it's a defense because it's a higher race of beings. There's a higher race of beings that's trying to come down, right? But the thing is, they go by a cycle. So the way these terrorists got down interact or counteract with the shit, right? They counteract with the shit by going with the cycle, the 369 cycle, right? That being said, that they're going against the 369 cycle or the 3693, that means that they're going against you, right? And everything that's living, because the 369 cycle is actually the cycle of the universe. So to understand the cycle of the universe, you understand the vibrations that hits, you understand the vibrations you speak, because it's all part of a frequency, is harmonic frequencies. So if you was like to look at your chakras as a guitar, right? Is you got different strings, lines of DNA, right? But it has different notes, right? I mean, these different strings are attached to these different chakras, right? Your organs, right? Just like a piano, it has different notes. So that's like the vibrations that you speak through your throat chakra. That's what makes your throat chakra really powerful, because your throat chakra actually opens up the airways to all your other chakras, which helps the heart generate. And you help the heart generate, you're being like the sun below and above your body, left and right, because your left and right represents Gemini, the two suns, the twins, right? Because it's like when twins, yeah, they're born together and everything, and you expect it to be unity, but usually it is. But through differentials, it switches up. So you might see your twins arguing and not want to be around each other. One's energy's off, one's might be high, to the point both of them don't give a fuck, right? So when it's like that, they're not moving in unity together like they usually would, because if they were, they would overcome a lot, because there's two minds being put together, and then they're already in the same energy. So, but the thing is, it's going to be that one twin's going to ignite something in the spirit, and that other twin's going to ignite something in the soul, dealing with. So one is going to ignite something in your subconscious, right? And the other is going to ignite something in your soul, dealing with the two suns, red and blue. But red and blue makes purple. When it comes together, it makes crown chakra. It makes the light, the ultraviolet light, right, at its top degree, because you're a sun at the end of the day. your chakras is like different rainbow suns. And you don't really see too many rainbow suns, like that. But if you look at the Rho constellation, it's the opening in the firmament where you can see a lot of rainbow suns. So, that being said, I didn't know I was about to get talking about all this extra shit, but like the blunt, let's get on it. So, that being said, there's a lot of weird shit going on. So, your two suns is like your conscious and your sub. So, as the two suns is coming together, right, that's tied to your left and your right, because one sun that was tied to your left was mostly out, but it went to another phase, right? That's why you're seeing different moons, because that's the sun. It's going through phases. That's what I believe. The Egyptians, like, and Kemetic shit, like, I'm not going to act like I study this shit, because I really don't. But a lot of the symbols and shit, it's been coming to understanding to me. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm gonna go with what I think. So to say, like, I remember these stickers, right? They had like the black sticker, or like these pictures. I was trying to look up like zodiacs or something like that a long time ago. Cause the thing is, I thought about it a long time ago, so it planted a seed in my subconscious, right? So the thing is, your subconscious got a lot of junk in it. So if you start eating fruits, your fruits actually are rainbow colors tied to your organs to clean out the wrong acids, right? Because it actually alkalines that area. For real. It gives it the water it needs for that area. It gives it the minerals it needs for that area. So that being said, that it does that for that area. Say like you get a lot of headaches, not a blood flow not going through, like, or in your throat congested and your heart. So a lot that's good for that is greens. So knowing that like green deals with chlorophyll, look at your green fruits. But the thing is, your fruits deals with natural vinegar and H3O water, which does a lot to your body. So if you just look with, like what Mike Epps was saying, for the root chakras, the root chakras. What Mike Epps was saying, goddamn, snap that pussy back, drop a little vinegar in the water, and taking a little bath, type shit. The vinegar was a part of the formula of bringing this shit back. But the thing is, that's like replication of vinegar and water, because any fruit turns into vinegar. So, but the thing is, it has to sit, the fruit has to sit, and then it turns into a brown liquid, which will eventually turn into a black, right? It's like, so any fruit you deal with deals with the minerals, the vinegar for your vines, right? The vinegar, the gar. What does gar mean? I know what vines tied to. Gar means slow me down. Freshwater garfish of North America. Various of fishes that have a elongated body, elegant body resembling of Pike and all John's native functions. Old Irish, short, near. Car means pathology. Gastric accommodation reflex. Microbiological biochemistry. That sounds like metaphysics to me. And why are y'all studying that? Because of the chemical reaction that happens within the nervous system. Anglo-Saxon word means spear, which describes the phenomenon. Contains a scale, bone. It's low key. Your scales on your hands, once they start to crystallize, like if you actually start going through like the whole fruit fast, fruit fast and be in the sun, it's like you still red or like maroon, veins green with a little purple glow. Cause I seen my hands randomly and I was like in a white robe. It was like a quick little vision, like that's a raven. It's like I was in a white robe. I was looking down on my hands just like this, like how I be looking at these shits like I feel energy right now as I'm doing this. Like it was just like outline purple, like how I would think the sun is. Cause that's what it means. Like delta also means denoting new energy. So when they even begun to even talk about delta, they was just talking about the fucking cycle. So your ABCs is the cycle. But the thing is, the ABCs that they're the little symbols they're using, the ABCs is energies. But it's really, since they use this, that, and the third for the same thing sometimes, or for this one, it's because they match up in like twins. You feel me? And when they match up in twins, it comes into a little higher energy. So it's like when it does that, you really only have about 19 to 26. No, either 19, 23. Yeah, you have 19 to 23 alphabets. I'm not going to tell you something wrong. Tell you the wrong thing. But if you look into it, you're going to see what I mean. Because then it's going to be like 1, 2, 3 to the ethers, to planet X. Damn, I didn't realize I was saying that, but yeah, to planet X. Because one scale, 1 to 10. Next scale is 10 to 100, but 1 to 19 is really just doing 1 to 19, because it's part of a different cycle. But goddamn, it's all correlated. It's like if a circle was going this way, then the circle was going this way, then the circle was going this way, then the circle was going this way, and you're in the fucking middle of it. Feel me? Like the sun. So like that's why I'm starting to kind of think we're already in the sun, and that's why it's already fucking close. That'd be crazy, right? And they always wanted to attack Earth and blow it up because it's Kai, or Kai, Chi, energy, life force. It's, it's part of its mother energy. What if the sun, no, fuck what I was saying. It was like, I was started thinking like, what if the sun is the mothership? You feel me? And we're just in it. And it looks so goddamn close, and they saying it's so far because we're in it. And that's like, it's like a little sector. A little sector that's been manipulated. It's like, nah, because that's definitely not it. But, let's see. Fuck, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah, back to the guard. But anyways, vines, like, alright, so it's like, your chakras has different colors, right? So if you didn't really know shit, you just get some fruit, right? And match up what it's good for. So say if you have a green fruit or a green vegetable, what is it good for? At the end of the day, even tomatoes. Tomatoes are supposed to be good for the root area. It's red. But if you open it up, it has yellow inside of green, right? It was mixed with the yellow and the green, right? So part of it is good for your heart at the same time. And what is tomatoes good for your heart? If you eating fake ass tomatoes, is making the opposite of what the tomatoes really do for you. I don't really eat tomatoes like that, but I like tomato sauce. Thing is, when you make natural tomato sauce with natural things, it actually like makes you feel better. That's why a lot of Italians big on goddamn tomatoes, and they have to be doing that shit to goddamn heal like a family member, like an old mom, that's like old school with it. You feel me? Because it deals with the root area, and when you get the root area right, the greens and it actually has green and yellow, which deals with the sacral and the well, like the solar and the goddamn your heart. Just like strawberries, like the leaves is actually something good to eat. It's good for your joints, right? Because it's good for blood flow. It has chlorophyll in it still. It's good for you. So if you was to blend your shit up, blend that shit up with it. You feel me? So like, that's a good thing about like blueberries too. It's blue, good for throat chakra, but it has green inside of it, so it opens up the airways for your heart. Feel me? Because everything they was always trying to feed you to consume for your physical was cholesterol, which deals with drugs, right? Actually deals with opioids. So really, they be pushing this shit on you through the medical field and TV, propaganda, advertisement. Advertisement is propaganda. That's why you never fully get what you want. When you see the picture, it don't look like the fucking picture or none of that shit most of the time. Or it's not up to your standards. So when you get there, now they're talking about fucking credit and all this extra shit. And really, they're fucking with your credit. If it was a credit to even be of to the indigenous people around the globe and above and below, they're just manipulating your shit. So that's when it's about to come to a pause. Because this is the thing. Even like, oh yeah, your schools too. Because the thing is, like, say like doctors, right? They don't really know shit to really get the neurons really clicking. They're supposed to know shit. And if they're not on not knowing shit, then someone's fucking lying about the fucking research they're doing. They're they're lying, bro. Like, I remember I was on Clubhouse, bro. Like, this shit happened overnight to me, for real, bro. Like, this awakening last year, this shit happened overnight. Like, literally, bro. Literally, bro. I was just seeing God, like, I just seen self. Everything, bro. But the thing is, I started realizing I always been that way. I just wasn't taught the right ways. So when I started looking how like nature already knows what to do, it just has a different lifespan. So depending on this lifespan of this body, I feel like it's about, and in reality, I feel like it could be like 3,693 years, but that was probably like that many cycles. But how many? Ooh, that's the thing. We immortal. Like, we're in a fucking time loop as it is, and the 369 represents the time loop. The 3693 represents the rebirth of another, right? So when delta, that was denoting new energy. B117 was a code name and numerology for new energy cycle, which ties into PSK9 as a lipoprotein dealing with xenobots. Xenobots has been corrupted, I believe, within the food because of the cells. That's how wicked it gets. It starts off tiny as a cell, just like how all meat has parasites and shit. You feel me? So, but the thing is, with the meats and the chickens, they were giving it sigmas, man-made sigmas. It's a natural sigma that comes from the sun. It eliminates anything that's not natural and enhances for growth anything that's going along with the cycle. Once you start going against it, it fucks with your light, because you're a light body being. You feel me? It fucks with your light. You feel me? Because just look at the left side of your brain and the right side of your brain. But get a light bulb. You feel me? Or just get a battery. You feel me? It's a left side and it's a right side of the brain. Alright, the negative, positive. Female, male, which creates a whole nother X. Feel me? So the real equation of it is XY, or XYX. You feel me? Because that actually represents a homologous gene, or I think I said that shit right. A homologous gene, which if you look at it, it looks like a big ass X. Feel me? And when it comes together, it makes coils. You feel me? Like braids. You feel me? And that kind of resembles the tetrahedron to a certain extent, because that actually ties into a beehive, the way the bees construct their hives. It looks like the pineal gland. No cap. And I'm starting to see the plasma. I already been seeing the sunshine pop out, looking very beautiful, colorful, vibrant, even with the clouds. So hey, so that made me want to keep going. Now I'm seeing the energy from the reflection of my camera around me. So look, shit get wicked. So like dealing with your light is metaphysics. Alright. So say how a doctor or say how a teacher is given a curriculum to go off. They go to school, learn shit, but at that time they're pretty old. Even depending on their race, it don't matter what race they are, they're able to see shit. It's just you have pussies and then you don't. That's why a lot of kids, not saying that women are pussies, but a lot of kids tend to went to the male for the teacher. You feel me? Cause it was a lot of good women that was teaching. I'm not trying to say it wasn't a great woman teacher, because it definitely was. But I'm saying when it came to like shit outside of the curriculum, it was a lot of males that like took the side. Was like, no, we're gonna talk about this, because it actually went to the curriculum. But it was just like it was like more of an understanding if you were like listening. Like say like government class. We took government class one time. Fucking the teacher stopped the whole class pretty much and started telling us how the laws apply in real life to you type shit, like breaking it down. And now that I'm remembering it, I truly appreciate who he was for doing that. He was somebody in the military too, but he was just looking at a lot of African American kids. He was low key like, I don't know what the fuck he was, Colombian, Russian, I don't know. But bro was trying to break it down to try to help people, because in reality they would teach you something that goes against. So it's like in reality they teach you something that goes against real reality, knowing so in their head, and then a lot of them just probably just don't know shit. So even when they were to learn what they learned, it wasn't clicking neurons, because that's what happens to make the light. It clicks a neuron, like one cell, the other cell. You say hydrogen, carbon, boop, makes another jump, creates light within that cell. Feel me? It's a trinity, right? So your left side, right side, click, boom, light to that idea or to whatever you're trying to figure out. Cause that's the thing, niggas wasn't really taught a lot of like the right stuff in history, because they were just going along with the system, being asleep. So now that we're waking up, the system is about to be destroyed. Well, it is destroyed already, but it's things for what us we have to do before they pass off or try to move on with the fuckery, and that's world order. Cause that's the thing, Abraham Lincoln didn't sign off for niggas being freed. Feel me? Niggas are still slaves to the corporation. He didn't sign off for shit like that. He actually wasn't with the world order shit. Maybe I'm saying this shit wrong, but I feel like he wasn't with the world order shit, and that's why they murked his ass once he started realizing what was going on. So that's when it made it seem like he was trying to free the slaves, but actually someone came back and took his ass out. And it might have been goddamn that nigga George. Feel me? So he actually didn't want to sign the world order shit, but they was already on that shit. Feel me? That's what it's always been about. Now, as you can see, they're reenacting and to show you how it's going to be, how it's set to be, right? But it's a certain race, the biggest race on this planet, The indigenous race to this planet has straight ownership to shut this shit down. You know, 1 state, 4 states, really the whole East Coast can destroy these things. But that would take the ones that's working with the system to actually operate the system. And that's when it gets too deep because they have too many operations. Even they have cloaking devices. As we was just showing in the beginning, he dapped up a military person who has clearance with that. All the illegal weapons they have is type weapons to fight against people above us, our family. And you have to realize there's 3 alternates to you. This is the alternate right here is where you're supposed to find balance from below and above. While you're on the Kai, you're supposed to be in balance to be the light because you're in a light body. So the thing is with metaphysics is pathology. I'm just everywhere with this shit. No structure. My bad, but look, metaphysics, right? Making you a meta-human. Reason why they have to attack your physical and your mental, because look at that as your negative and your positive. Not saying that it's a negative or positive, it's just an energy that creates a neuron, right? Or valence electrons. I can't fully remember that shit. But like, say it's it's 1, 2, it's the 2 sparks of your light, your electricity and your magnetism, right? Makes energy, makes light. It makes a cycle, right? So that's why you have to have that type of magnetism and the spark, which is the magnetism is like more of, hopefully I'm not wrong, but the magnetism is, it's like the positive. The electricity is like the electricity. The negative, right? The spark. But really, I might be saying that wrong because electricity, well, magnetism deals with a rainbow. So that actually deals with the sparks. Well, anyways, either way it goes, you see what the fuck I'm trying to say. like for real, either way it goes, you see what I'm trying to say. One, like a battery, boom, boom. When it has a spark and the magnetism, it creates a cycle of energy till it runs out. It pretty much creates a loop or like a racetrack. Alright. So like an oval. So like they have to attack the mental, which is one side, and the physical, which is one side, because it attached to really both sides is attached to the brain, but I'm saying one side has more to do with one side and the other side has more to do with one side, but actually it deals with everything at once, because it's dealing with metaphysics is pathology, dealing with your nervous system and the way it reacts to really to nature. It deals with psychology too, which actually deals with your mental and we're gonna say your cells deals with the nervous system, but it connects to nature because it represents you just in a reflection, different states of you, right? Earth, water, air, earth, water, air, fire, plasma, or the heart chakra, or then you have your blood, which is the blood of all of those elements dealing with your atoms, right? That's why the blood is part of the sacrifice from around water or around nature, the fire, dealing with water, and blood. But the thing is, when you're under the moon, you're still under the sun. You're just, that's more of Mars energy that's been manipulated. Because like I said, it's only dim because the land sunk. So now that the UV is rising, it's drying up the lakes that they're manipulating. It's not drying up the ocean, it's drying up the lakes. All this manipulation with the water is coming from their fuck ass clouds, from and their disposals of bodies that's been dying from COVID. That's where you will find E. coli being in the water system because of that. Because that also deals with pathology when a reactant. Like a lot of this shit that's in the clouds now, dealing with barium and vanadium, has something to do with the pyramids. Like certain type of metals that the Egyptians or Kemetic or just the indigenous people that was just here, the Atlanteans, that was here off that shit, for me, because we understood the cycle and how it was connected to us. So when you're looking at everything as you and you're everything, everything just starts to make sense, right? Because it's all about a vibration, right? It makes geometrical shapes, different ones, because the vibrations are like your chakras. So the different notes actually turns into those sigils, for me, dealing with sand, because sand deals with absorption, but it also deals with reflection. It deals with crystals. It's like the sediment of, it's like the beginning of the formation, but it has so many minerals that it actually purifies water, which deals with hydrogen. But like, say your glass deals with sand, right? So obviously they're using sand space for reflectors. They use all the little metals and shit. So really that would be a good investment to tie into, because but fuck all that investment shit. That's our shit. Niggas is using that shit for destruction of this planet. Because there's a pathology to it too. Just like how it interferes us, it interferes the trees. That's why you're seeing the trees still die. But it's not that they're dying because they're still rooted. It's just, look at it, the branches are like cells connected to the to your kundalini, to your spine, right? And these different branches are like different vines of you, right? And the leaves are like cells. like the red blood cells that transport the amino acids throughout the whole tree as it is. Feel me? So, because once it gets to the top, it grows hair, it grows ether. Feel me? That's why really the black dot to me is actually the green dot. Feel me? Which kind of ties to the emerald. Damn. I'm gonna just say it ties to the emerald. Feel me? Making it a really sacred jewel. Because if you look at chlorophyll and what it's tied to, then you look at what you eat and what it's tied to, it actually makes, it makes a dark green liquid that you can mistaken for black if it wasn't light on it. You feel me? So, I'm drinking some right now because it counteracts with the manganese above, because they're trying to put in the air that you breathe too much manganese. So it's kind of like you gotta be balanced out with that shit, but you can't be like drinking too much of that shit because it's not the natural way. So really you just need to eat more greens because really that's the natural way. So the thing is, just like, even if you fucking it up a little bit with other shit like butter and shit, just make it natural. Feel me? But I suggest you only eat straight fruits first. Eat straight fruits and water. Straight fruits and water. Because you kind of have to have the water. Because the water is for the pineal. That's where the 4 ounces go to. So when you drink cold water, it goes straight to the pineal. It's for the pineal, for the heart, the root. But your pineal and your pineal and your pineal and your crown is a trinity. Because boom, boom, boom. Then you have your throat and your heart and solar twin. Root and sacral is that's a trinity. Root sacral is another 2. So that's 8, right? Because it's 2 4s from top to bottom. Then it's 4s, 2 4s left to right, which will make 16. But 16 represents 7, which represents Ayan or Zayin, right? Which ties into Z. But that Zayin alignment is the alignment that's going to fucking do it. For me? Because that ties into, because they go against the energy, right? That's why they had to higher the increments of the shots. Because during pathology is the definition that ties to variant, why they call it the variant in the first place. You're a variant, you're the user. You're the variant, you're a user if you took the walk. But at the end of the day, you're still a variant because they're trying to see what can happen. But they already know what's going to happen because it already happened in the past. They dick ass just start doing the shit all over it, right? But the thing is, it was approved. Because there's no fucking way. It's just motherfuckers all day chemtrailing the skies unless it's someone they made an agreement with, which is the Greys. But it seemed like a lot of the Greys, from what I saw a little video, it was a Grey in a fucking cave. You feel me? But then that ties to somewhere I heard someone saying they in the mountains having meetings. Like Rashad Jamal said that shit. So now that I'm thinking of that randomly, because I'm thinking of that shit right. Like, the thing about deltas is a triangle where it harnesses a lot of energies. So you look at your mountains, you look at your ports, like delta plane, delta planes, because we're on a delta plane, but a lot of delta planes have triangular shaped land masses. So that deals where a lot of energy gets tied to with the CMEs. Feel me? As you look at 77 degrees, either east, 0 north, and if that doesn't pop nothing up, try it in reverse. Feel me? So it'll be like, because the sun starts in the east, goes to the west, and the north actually represents 360, right? Or 12, right? That's why it's not 33 levels. The 33 is just where they stopped at because they kind of go to the other 3 alternates. So like, alright, so 36 is still like 360 or 3600. And when it ties to years and numbers like that, it ties to hertz because time is measured by distance and speed. So it's dealing with hertz and degrees. That's why I said on my video, the 369 shit, the clock represents the 369. And then it actually represents the loop because the 12 actually just represents the 3 at a higher interval. You feel me? Because then that deals with a different note, a different hertz, a different vibration, a different letter. It gives out a different vibration. That's like when you speak English, you're giving out different vibrations as you speak. Feel me? You give out different vibrations, high, low, good intent, bad intent. Which makes it, what gives it, well, not saying power, but it's kind of like a spell if you're not using the letters properly. Because really, the vibrations came from vibrations, telepathy, telecommunication, feel me? Frequencies, feel me? Sick frequencies gives messages, right? So if your body was a phone, you received a text message. It sent out an energy that replicated whatever you were saying right there. It was a replica of what your body does with the planet, with space, and with other people. That's why they needed that to even make it work. They need satellites in space, the planet, and got down different people, different users. So now that they're testing that with people with phones, tablets, and data and shit, people are walking around with this shit. It's part of the experiment. But at the same time, it deals with pathology at the same time, destroying your metaphysical body just so they can keep track of you. Because it kills white blood cells, right? Which fucks up the protection of your red blood cells. So if it's fucking up the protection of your red blood cells, that's a mutation. So now you have citizens that are really not citizens because they don't have no nationality. Their name's been taken, their rights been taken. Really, the rights is still there, but there's there's a way of them moving to where they don't want the world to know, all because of money. So then, if they're controlling the money, then they're controlling if it falls or not. But really, we're controlling the money because we determine if it falls or not, because they put everything that you need to make you lazy. So the thing is, the system crash, you go back to not having shit, you will start to tap into your energy. And really, it happens to a person that's going through shit. So it doesn't really matter if you're in a peaceful mind or not when this shit happens. Because I was in a heart intent 2017 when that shit happened. But I haven't heard anyone else speak about some shit that happened, or maybe they scared. But I saw the shift. I saw what can happen to people. So when I heard Shah Jamal talk about some shit, about how you might start seeing rainbows, like in the sky or like with the vision. But he understood what he was talking about. And I understand now what I'm talking about, because I feel like God gave me this piece to the puzzle to reveal, because I understand the cycle and how it's a loop. Like, it's a quantum loop. Actually jumps every 10 years. It just goes into a higher energy every 27, like into a different dimension, right? So we're entering we already was in 3 and 4, repping Mu and Nu. Now we're going into 5 and 6. 4 is still going to be there because of a tri-solar system. So that means 3 is like still in a slumber, 2, 1 below. So it's like that, and then the consciousness of 7, 8, and 9 is open. It's already low-key kind of been open consciously, but is opening up on a physical realm now, is what I mean. So because the cycle of the 5th dimension already set, and the 6th is settling. So as the 6th settle and the 7 going into the 7, it's so above, so below, because it's settling on the planet. That's why they're putting all the clouds up, so the clouds can settle, because it deals with the pathology of nature and you, being that you're a part of it. So this cycle that's going on is your cycle. So meaning, clean your shit up and move along with it to really find yourself, and keep researching, and just really, your research is you researching, is redoing something that you already searched for when you were in your dream state. Because you wouldn't have to research some shit you already know. But that's what you have to do in the physical. Because thing is, once you understand that's what you be doing, then the intuition always comes through every day. Even if you, because once you see it first, then you know. So don't really stress yourself out about not dreaming. Just make it make sense to why you're not. And that that deals with the blood flow that's going on through your body. The blood flow that goes on through your body actually generates the electricity and the protection. It really generates an aura for your body, right? Because what do light do at the end of the day? Well, look at yourself as a sun. To generate your body back together, you need your hydrogen and your rainbow fruits, right? So I say like spinach. That shit has a hella chlorophyll in it, but it makes Popeye strong because it brought a lot of blood flow to his system that deals with water. And the only way for that plant to even grow properly, it needs sun. The only way for the trees to grow properly, it needs sun. The only way for your cells to, it's not really the only way, but for your cells to go with this energy, it's like you're the pyramid. You're grounded. You're receiving energy from the pyramid that's pointing down at you. Just look at the sun as a pyramid pointing down at you. And you're the pyramid that's pointing up. And the trees are the same way. And the mountains. And the structures that was built for that reason and to harness the energy. Because it's not, it wasn't just to do that, but it was part of a cycle. Feel me? Because once you harness it, you have to give it back up for it to come back down on you. So it got down loop. Feel me? You got an X, which marks the spot. One triangle going up, two triangles going down. Sunshine. Feel me? That the triangle down represents the planet. Beacons. Right? Because everything natural is gonna have an aura. You ain't trying to stop that though. Because really all these diseases actually came from them. It's under the sun. And them trying to contaminate it just made it worse, because the animals that they always use for vaccines and fetuses is always they know it is, but it becomes an uncontrollable substance. And you're feeding the parasite for it to grow, but as it grows, it attacks the T cells, and attached to the T cells, that's like attaching to your carbon and hydrogen trinities. It's breaking down the beehives of the DNA, like the coils. And the coils is generating a spleen. That's why when they give you pathological blood destruction, which is any word you see with lysis, it deals with pathological blood destruction, dealing with your nervous system and how it affects you, and psychiatry, like how it fucks with you mentally, because it fucks with you mentally and physically. Because if you can get the red blood cells to die, it starts in the spleen, and your spleen is actually aligned with your solar plexus, right? So that being said, your spleen is aligned with your solar plexus, and that's where your red blood cells start to die when you get a type of sigma that's not natural. It goes against the shit. So that's when the sodium and the calcium ties down to it, because the sodium and the calcium dealing with tetraoxidin and azetabe. Azetabe came from Nigeria, from the Igbo tribe. That's where they got their study from, which is like the Oma tribe with the indigenous. Like the native is like the African and the Native American kind of tied to that shit story. But azetabe, that ties to the lipoprotein, which I said again, Zetia, dealing with the stars. They named this shit for a reason. But that's the thing, I'm gonna give you the sauce. The definitions for them shits, you look at it for metaphysics, is pathology, biochemistry, and biology. Really, it's chemistry, but you just add the bio because it's biology within all of it. The biology makes it biochemistry, and the biology with psychology makes it pathology. You feel me? Dealing with your pathways too, right? Or your anatomy, I mean. So yeah, that deals with anatomy too. Alright, so because it's a fort, big fort. So look, that being my bad. Ooh, that shit's still hot. Alright, so that being said, the that deals with like the spike proteins too, because it's all cholesterol. When you're dealing with protein, you're dealing with cholesterol. You feel me? So what cholesterol does is blocks your sodium channels. What your sodium channels really are is your sodium channels is really your life force. Feel me? It deals with your life force. It deals with your sodium channels deal with your melanin, your plasma, and your blood, right? So when you block all three of those up, what happens? You develop skin problems. You develop loss of red blood cells, and then your plasma actually deals with your with your right brain. It deals with both, but it deals with your right brain and your left. But it deals with really, I'm not trying to act like I study plasma. It's just this shit, it weakens the absorption. It's like your red blood cells need plasma and blood to even work. It works like a synergy. Right? So plasma actually holds the charge. I mean, the plasma helps the atoms hold the charge. Say this shit wrong, baby, but I'm not at the same time, right? So look. So say your spike proteins, right? This is why I caught the doctors on. Your spike proteins deals with your hemoglobin, and that's always gonna deal. Any hemoglobin deals with immune system, and then that deals with metabolism too, because really, the more clogged up it is, that means it's more parasites that's developing a different type of disease in you, right? Well, you might not feel it because you're thinking when you just get old as you grow up, but that's not true. You're just going through pathological blood destruction, low key. But that's doing it naturally to yourself. Because the chemicals you eat, things you consume, smoking cigarettes, all that shit ties down to that shit. You feel me? So, like, let's get back on course. All right, so if you spike your proteins up with protein, that's actually working like you're eating a shitload of cholesterol, because that actually creates junk in the cell, right? And the junk that's in the cell is animal fetuses and a fucking AI technology that's small enough to even be in the needle to get transferred through a lipoprotein, which deals with spike proteins, because it deals with that. They're spiking the protein, which really is the amino acid, which really is your DNA. So that's why it's even a DNA, RNA vaccine or a shot for it, because it deals with your memory. If you start to remember, you're starting to remember when your DNA starts to repair itself back together. So if you can mentally, you have to be in a good mental space. You gotta clear your root. That's the thing. You have to clear the root and the sacral, because it's a twin. It works in synergy, but it clogs your third eye, which clogs your X, your big X, the more dominant one. It clogs that up and creates junk all around it because it can't breathe. It's not getting a current that's flowing to hit it. It needs a current, right? It needs a current to it, so it holds more, so it can hold more energy, because a current can't hold energy. Like, say a river was, or a current that you had making energy with like water in a river or something. If you no longer had that current, you would no longer have that energy working the way you want it to work. And that's how your body is. It's like the ocean, or like rivers and canals and all types of shit that's attached to a body of ocean. It's attached to hydrogen. Like, you and carbon and hydrogen and carbon just makes antimatter. When it comes together, that's the neuron. So it either makes, but the neuron is the rainbow atom, and the black atom is the neuron that it produce, the neuromelanin, because it went from producing melanin, which was producing oxygen to breathe for your body in a natural way, not from the emissions coming from the clouds, because that's what it's doing to the trees, is taking it away. So it goes into a different state when it goes into a neuron. And as I was saying last year, like, you can look into the sky, and if you focus your eyes, you start seeing neurons. Just like at night, when it's clear, you don't see all the stars that's behind it. If you stare, you start to see little speckles, but those are just many stars that's further away, that it actually looks like a science picture that you might put on your wall because it looks cool. Feel me? You'll see the main stars that you see, the alignments, then you see all the many little speckles. You can see that if you just focus your eyes. That's the thing. If you start focusing your senses, all of your senses, and then it comes to your body too, because whatever one thing on your body, it could transmute all around your body, because it's an aura that you're trying to tap into, the light that you're creating. It's like creating neuromelanin and antimatter, which creates a higher force in you, right? that comes with the DNA repairing itself. It's a process. It's really a 360-degree circle, right? Feel me? Not a 180. Feel me? It's a 360 degrees. And as you keep going, it goes to 720 all the way up till you get to 360. Still with the knife, the ethers, right? Tap into your energy. But look, the thing about last year, the atoms, you can see how atoms, like, they say you can never see them unless you had a microscope. But if you was just to look up and focus your eyes, those little dots that look like debris, those are atoms or neurons. Like, it's like a portal, but really it's cells, because that's what make you blood of the air, because these atoms that's in the air is like the atoms that's in your blood moving around. So that being said, once you connect your body back to above and below, within you, above and below, like how, like, the Bible said, be not the tail but be the head, or some shit like that. Just tap more into your crown to open up the root so it can be in the cycle, because the root and the sacral is like a dam to your cycle. Once you open that up, your solar and your heart space opens up into intuition for your crown, for your third eye, to tap into your crown on both sides to make light to all situations. And that's what the different color fruits, you could do them separately. Like last year when I came back, I was just like, I couldn't eat shit no more. And at that time I was really cooking a little more. The shit was good as hell too, but I was more cooking. So that being said, I couldn't eat. I didn't want to really eat shit but fruit. And as I was doing so, I started seeing why I should be eating fruit. But really, I was just feeling good. I was seeing it within myself, and I was seeing it on YouTube as I was doing it, like after the fact. And I'm just like, word. So this shit makes sense. Because a lot of people, even my family, they was like, you can't just eat fruit. You gotta have meat in your diet. And I'm like, but my DNA don't match that. And meat just makes cholesterol and obtains parasites. And then of the meats, like, now I'm not gonna say I was thinking that then, but now I understand that the meats have to have certain shots to even get sold to the masses, right? And then is dealing with different other chemicals that deals with acidic shit that dehydrates you. It doesn't alkaline shit. It dehydrates you. And this body has to be hydrated. So the only thing to get hydrated is from water-based foods, which becomes electricity when you're dealing with the minerals that's in it, because the minerals that's in it also ties into the crystals that's within you. Feel me? To the elements ties to the minerals that's in you. So like the pathology, the neurons. So like this is why they're trying to intervene. So say your sodium channels are blocked. Now it's allowing that T cell from the animal to move in easily. Like say is no defense up now, so now they can move in. So like say that's just like a It's like a bomb or smoke gas or some shit. So now it's clogging it all up with the gray, dirty looking shit. You know, the gray gas. Is that a gray gas? I'm gonna call that shit the ZG, the ZGG. It's fucking that shit. So ZGG, Zeta Gamma. Zeta Gamma Gamma. Alright, so well, look. Alright, so fuck, that shit fuck me up. Alright, yeah, it makes it cloudy. Like, that's when you see your mucus got more clouds, like dirt and all types of that shit. If you actually clean your nose, like I be outside a lot, so you actually clean your nose and shit, you actually see the shit that's in the air quality, and it's more better. It's easier to see it at nighttime because the traffic lights and your car lights. And when it's get really foggy, you can really see it. That's not fucking no water that you need to just be outside just cooling around. Feel me? That shit got epoxy dust. That's why you seeing little white speckles on your car after that shit, and everybody's fucking sick. Cause niggas got too much mucus built up in their body. You have to stop eating meat, bro. Really, especially now, bro. No, you eating a lot of clone ass shit, right? A lot of them keep that shit for them to eat. Feel me? Alright, dealing like with production wise as food, you're eating a lot of clone ass shit, right? And I mean, they get real chickens, but then they clone them shits. You feel me? And then them shits don't really have a lifespan, expectancy for a long time. So when they compare it to humans, it goes to like 2 years, right? Everything they did, them shits went out in like 2 months. Compared to humans, it goes to like 2 years. So like, it's like a cron job. That's what a micron is also another name for it too, because the thing is how they made English, they were thinking like this. Oh, so Omi means that. So for this, we're gonna make it cron, because cron means this. But now it's one word. Let's just make it one word. All right, a micron. Now that's the English or the Greek. It's some shit like it be shit like that. But whole time, Ayin, which it really means, come from Phoenician Kemetic shit. So that goes back to how the vibrations from the language, even like ho ho ho, green giant, like the vibrations we were using were like pretty much, yeah. So when we taught them how to use the vibrations through letters, you feel me? That's when the alphabet came in play. So when they understand the alphabet, actually the note of it hold a certain energy that's attached to above to manifest below. It's a frequency, right? The whole shit is a frequency. But it's kind of in a mixture because certain letters actually mean this, that, and the third. That's where to understand English, you have to look at Latin, Greek, and Hebrew. So to understand the meanings of the shit that they're using on you, you gotta understand that was the empires that's over right now. You feel me? Hebrews saying they Jews, which are really Russians, Greeks, which goes back to the Spaniards, the conquistadors. Feel me? It goes back to them. But can't forget about the Asians being for. But we're really the true Asiatic beings. So they call them dead Asians. Like no melanin. Asians just still had melanin, but didn't lack godliness. I mean, they lacked not that they lacked too much of, because it was a replication of light skinned people. But light skinned people can harness energy, and actually, they can harness so much that they're dark. And if they were in a balanced body, they'd be straight. It's just some of them actually get skin burns still. But that's depending on what they're mixed with. Like you have black, light skinned people that's actually black. And then some is just mixed with like other shit. But we're naturally like the Germans and shit and all that shit. It's just it was always a replication of us. And that's where they colonized. I forgot what the fuck I was talking about. But yeah. Alright, so back to that shit. Alright, so when it blocks your sodium channels, it blocks your sodium channels, that's blocking your life force. It's blocking your soul, blocking your solar plexus, because it blocks the spleen, right? But that cycle is still part of a cycle as it's moving through, right? Because the hemoglobin actually transports your red blood cells to your respiratory system, right? To give it its nutrition. But the protein, man-made protein for animals, are not supposed to be in a body that's made for natural things, because it's a light body. So if it's being fed the wrong things and lacking its nutrients, then it becomes a imprisonment to itself, because it's not moving in a natural way, or what you would think is a citizen. But the thing is, they're claiming you dead already because of the attack, which is actually the Holocaust. And then whoever the fake ass people of those, they benefit, because everyone that was in it, the Jews, $5 Indians, they're gonna have the Asians, the Indians, and then there's people in the Americas dealing with Spain. And the black people that's involved in this shit still in an involvement of a destruction of their own family. It comes to an end now, because this shit is genocide. Like, the sodium channels also transport it's supposed to transport amino acids, not transporting fucking proteins from a fucking animal. That's not how your body fucking works. That's not how it's supposed to. It reverses it. You feel me? and then it makes junk inside of your brain, which after a while it stops your nervous system from even protecting your fucking body. So now the shit that's getting fed to you or shot in you and put in your air quality fucks with your fucking nervous system for your body not even to protect itself. But that's the thing, you're supposed to be eating natural food, like Joshua said. If you believe in the Bible or shit, like Joshua, he was like a prophet getting messages from God. He told the people to start growing, start to eat from the ground. You feel me? Because at the same time, it removes the parasites naturally, and it puts your DNA and RNA, your amino acids, back into play. It puts your atoms back into play. Because the thing is, when people say raise your vibration, raise your frequency, you're doing that mentally and physically. You can only do that mentally and physically by yourselves, because that's part of your nervous system, like even your physical. So that ties to your goddamn cells. So that's like that ties into your spirit and your soul, because your perspective actually gives a command to your cells, how you feel in the physical and how you feel in the mental space. You feel me? That's why you can physically, like, stress and anything that deals with anxiety is opposite of you. It's man-made emotions, and then it was fed to you through a frequency. So now that you're seeing an action that's tied to a noun or a verb, now you have an attachment to it. Now the attachment is in your imagination, because now your imagination that's attached to your soul, which is not it, it's attached to your spirit. So now that puts you in a sleeping, like a better state. It's supposed to be like a AB, think like A plus B equals C. What's the missing variable? So that's dealing with A, and B is dealing with your physical and your mental attachments to your nervous system. A and B is like the red and blue Kachina coming together to make an ultraviolet light, right? It's a reflection of you. So when your physical is back in tune, and now you have your mental, because a lot of people have their physical in tune, but not their mental. You feel me? You have your physical in tune, you working out and shit, but then you be tripping out because your mental ain't straight. You still got attachments to shit, which creates a lot of anger. But the thing is, awareness also can create more testosterone depending on how you're using it. But it actually can kill you, because depending on what emotion you're attached to and how you're using that energy to even move forward. So, like, say if you use that energy to be in a sadness, you're killing yourselves. You're killing them mentally. But that's the thing, because sadness is the opposite of love. And the thing is, while they said, like, senseis and all type of shit, or shaman, like, you appreciate everything because that's what a loving person would do. That's love. It gives off a loving frequency, which is the heart chakra. The heart chakra is the Merkaba to even activate everything. I was just saying the throat chakra is powerful because it opens up airways all throughout your body, throughout your other chakras, and helps you can focus the life force to them certain chakras, with your throat chakra, and open up portals and shit. So, like, because these portals that's above is actually attached to you, because when you open them up within you, then you can go through them above, right? because that's what you were doing. That's why you didn't need school. You had intuition. That's why a lot of our intuition is fucking niggas up right now, because we're waking up. Our chakras are unlocking, getting back in tune, because the cycle is back in flow. Because really, raising your frequency is raising your cellular intake, because they're not supposed to die. But when you're in a more of a natural, when you're alkaline in your body and keeping it alkalining within the sun and being grounded, just like how a tree moves. The tree has to be alkaline to even grow tall. Because when it's alkaline from its basis, from being in nature, it can fight off certain things. That's why pieces of it falls, the leaves. When it turns bad, it leaves. But the roots still stand strong. Because the roots to the crown represents the Kundalini. And to the ethers. Because you can use the trees to actually raise the vibration on the planet. And the ground, use the ground to raise the vibration on the planet, but you could speak to the trees to do the same thing as you. Because what do? They move like the sun too. And if they begin to do breath work with you, that's why you root yourself and you begin to do breath work, the plasma raises up and clears it out from below, which helps the sun remove the rest from above. So like now you're working in the cycle, in the alkaline body. And as the more you absorb, the more of your cells duplicate itself, but is mutating itself, is cloning itself, right? It's cloning itself but it's cloning itself as a positive variant. You don't want your cells growing into fucking all of these different types of cancers and dysfunctions from these frequencies that's hitting. Because the thing is, say it only happens mostly to people that's getting older. It's going to start happening to people that's younger, because the cells actually went off from the intensity of the sun, because the light and the heat is actually the reactant. But that comes from the friction from the hydrogen, which even creates the hydrogen and the carbon. So like, the thing is, as your cells is reproducing itself and becoming more, that's supposed to be holding the charge that you're receiving from above. Because it is. The clouds is holding the charge too. But that's not a good charge. It still has the charged particles from the sun, but that's what activates it to even do what it needs to do. Because in between that formula was to generate cold sub-zero technology, and that was made for it to fall. That's how you know on the grid is in reverse. South is really north. And the green lens, which always made sense, just seems so fucking powerful. And whatever that's not Arctic and Antarctica, powerful as hell too. It's like wherever you see snow, hella energy is hitting. So watch how it be snow in certain areas where the M flare hits. That's where they get them. They move into an area, say, oh yeah, you got my back. Boom, boom, we doing this and that. Then they move in. When they know the M flare about to hit, cloud the shit up, right? So when they cloud the shit up, the M flare hits it. Now it's like a fucking blizzard, fucking snowstorm, or this, that, and the third moving, right? Then that happens. But the thing is to even cloud it up, that to get like that, they have to cloud it up for like months. So that's when your fall comes into play. And reality of the clouds was out the way, it'd be nice and more. But it will still have a little breeze because of the shit that's still in the air, that's in the current. Because that's how they even get it. They trying to operate with the current. As the poles are shifting, the currents move different ways. So they're trying to operate with the currents. So you might have the West Coast be hot, the West Coast be colder than the East Coast. Then the East Coast be colder than the West Coast because they're manipulating the current. And current of air also holds electricity with what? The atoms. Because look at the blood, look at the sky as the ocean, but remember what I said, look at your body as the ocean. So like the atoms is the blood in the ocean. Feel me? So if you're fucking with the current of the atoms, which are really just cells. Atoms are just cells, and just a different word. So you're fucking with the atoms, right? That's in the air. That fucks with your nervous system. Fucks with the way you think. Neurology, like it's neurons, it's neuroscience. So it's like that fucks with you because now they're fucking with the cells that you're connected to in the air. And you need air to what? Breathe, right? But that gets into you, and then it does what it does, right? And if you're blocking airwaves, that's blocking sodium channels, and now you're blocking energy to your chakras. Because say it's like a flow and your chakras are like wheels, but the current in your body makes the wheel spin, right? It's just like it makes you high. That's why weed is actually like, it's a chakra herb. It's made for your chakras, for the rainbow chakras. It's really a heart chakra drug. It's a heart chakra plant. Mentally, physically, it brings you back into a good heart space. But the thing is, it can fuck with your intuition and your crown if you haven't really fully developed your brain by detaching from worldly things with like emotions. Because the thing is, your chakras are awarenesses. They're not nothing to deal with fear. Nothing. So if you wasn't even dealing with anxiety or fear or none of that, then you will be you're allowing the energy to flow through you, because that's your awarenesses. So like, say if you were to get scared, you got mad, see, the heart activated because you got mad in your fear. So you wanted to defend yourself in your fear. Now that brought the chaos energy, right? But the thing is, when you start unlocking your superpowers, in the movies, they showed it came when they was in protection mode, in defense mode. That's when that shit happened. So, say you felt like an army or someone was trying to run into your shit, you most likely will shift, right? And they're knowing that they do shit along the energy cycle, they're going to be trying, and it's going to be happening, right? because the energy is still going to hit. They're not even going to be able to cloud it up because it's not going to go along with their seasons. But by January, February, March, really cold. If they get away with any of that shit, really cold. Because when you're dealing with M flares that's actually going to be hitting the Americas, it's going to generate a lot of ice if they can block it. But that's why the chosen ones below have to ground themselves. Don't wait for it to get all cloudy and shit, because they're up clouding back and forth. If you ever see an opening in the sky, then you'll see what the fuck I'm talking about. They literally be up there all day. I saw it last year on the snow moon. Fucking, it was like I was grounding and it started clearing out for me. And then I recorded on my old tablet. But I was like watching one person live just to like get space news and shit. Feel me? Because I didn't know how to read that shit or nothing like that. So that helped me too. So like James Kaufman, Collide, they be on space news type shit and Planet X news. He was on some shit that nobody was showing. That's why I know Gamma stands for CME stands for Gamma Ma Epsilon, and Epsilon is representing the light at the tilt, and that's coming from headquarters, Sirius, A, B, C, and X. It may be an M there too. That's a part of it, right? It might be an M, but it's kind of like frequency versus frequency right now, cause CERN is all these lunar eclipses came from a lot of shit that was going on, like dealing with CERN. That's when the lunar eclipse came, the lunar light. It was dealing with the light that connects to the ground because it was going into the fifth and the sixth dimension physically. So the lunar eclipse was like, in my eyes, like an interference. Now we're going back solar. You feel me? So the heat's coming back. The heat's already there, but they're trying to block it still. So that being said, it's about to get real hot. It really should be hot right now. But from what I spoke to words December 8th on that video, or the X-Flare video, I caught it on video because I believe what I was saying, and it happened. They didn't even know where the fuck it came from, right? It's the power of your tongue. It's the power of you. You are the cycle. This is why Tesla feel like he about to die. Because that's my ancestors' knowledge that he's going and using. It's sacred. He's helping them. He's helping these people, or these grays, interrupt the cycle, and make it gray. Epoxy dust turns gray. So say if your sodium channels are blocked by this shit, or just by the way you eat, and you were just outside a lot, then that's what the monkey shit would come from. It's sticking to glass looking like dots of fucking glass. It's barium, vanadium. It's a new mixture. Last year was graphene oxide and calcium carbonate. So it might be all four now, to be honest. Stay alkaline. The fruits and water keep you alkaline. I'm telling you, you need to fast for this 4 months. And if you were going to spend money on some shit, just buy some little shit at the grocery store to throw in a little supply box. Feel me? But at the same time, don't put too much energy into that shit, because you might have to move. But just make sure you have a station to report to if you ever need some shit. Feel me? Act like you know what could happen, because it's common sense. And move in defense of it. Because they coming for us, bro. This is part of the Holocaust. And then out of the reaction that happens is when the gassing and all that extra shit comes. It's like the nukes. And all these chambers that they're already doing now. This is genocide. And when they switched it back to the world order shit, that's how you know the Russians gonna win. Because they represent the Nazi. But really the Jews is running this shit. And the Kabbalists. But that's the Russians. All of them look the same. And the Indians. And then the Asians is attached to the Greys. The Greys and the Asiatic beings that was already there first. The light-skinned ones. Shit gets wicked. I just feel like I just said a whole bunch of shit. Hopefully you grabbed it. My tablet about to die though. I'm out.